803886 processor, which is shown in this diagram. So on the CPU, there are two types of processors are there. One is a main processor and another one is a coprocessor, which is shown in this diagram. Now we are going to see the actual in your syllabus. You are having 8086 processor in microprocessor. So in this coprocessor topic, I'm going to conduct the 8087 coprocessor. So it will be easy to understand what is difference between processor and coprocessor. Now we will see as I said, Daddy, I will explain the architecture of the 8087 coprocessor. So first of all, what do you mean by what is a 8087 processor? So this 8087 processor is coprocessor is available with the 8086 processor. That is the first thing. 8086 processor, that is the main processor. In that main processor, this 8087, this coprocessor is available. Now, 8087 was the first math coprocessor of the 16-bit processor, which will be designed by the Intel. All these 8087 processor is designed by the Intel, which is of the 16-bit. Now it will be built on the two types of processor. As I explained, it will be built on the 8086 processor, which is in the syllabus in the microprocessor based system subjects. And another type of processor is 8088 processor. That means 8086 and 8088. On this processor, coprocessor is 8087. This coprocessor is available for all these two processors. Now, what is the purpose of this 8087 processor? As I explained in the first PPT itself, it will be accelerate the performance of the main processor. So here it is written that the purpose of the 8087 was to speed up the computational involving floating point calculation. That means it will be increase the speed and it will be involved in the floating point operations, which is involved the processor. For that purposes it is used. Now, as I explained that the floating point operations will be done. So simple operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. This simple operation is not done by the coprocessor. That is not job of the coprocessor. Main job of coprocessor is that it will be work on the floating point operations, which will be required, which is I have explained in the four type of operation. That is in that first one is floating point operation. Second one is graphics and signal processing operation. Third one is encryption operation, and like that, which is mentioned in the previous PPT. Now, whenever we want to calculate the some floating point number operations on the basis of scientific or algebraic functions, that will be done with the help of this coprocessor. It is not done by the main processor. That is the job of the coprocessor. Now, next thing is that whenever we move to the next part, that is whenever we are having the any coprocessor which can be calculate the floating point operations, and it will be keep free for the main processor, that is the CPU. It will be keep the free for the main processor to do the other task. So it will be reduce the execution time of the particular processor. Now, then whenever this processor is increasing the performance of the system, that means automatically system speed is increases because of this coprocessor. So increases the overall speed, and it is also going to increase the performance of the entire system. It is going to increase performance of the system. Now, this coprocessor introduced about the 16 new instructions which is available for the programmer. So processor is having different instruction set, as well as their coprocessor is also having the different instruction set. So processors is having the different instruction set. For example, if I am saying that the processor is having move instruction, okay, move A comma B. This instruction is in 8086, for example. It is available for the main processor. Same type of instruction is also available for the coprocessor, but in front of that F keyword is written, move FMOV. Like this it is written that the instructions, that means main processor is having different instruction set and co-processor is having different instruction set, which will be executed by the that particular processor as well as the co-processor. That means the whatever instructions are available for the main processor, that will be executed by the main processor only. Then these 60 instruction which is available for the co-processor, which will be executed by the this co-processor only. Then it will be separated as all the mnemonics begin with the F, as I mentioned that. So to differentiate between whether it is a 80 standard 8086 processors instruction or it is a co-processors instruction of the 8087, to identify that in front of each instruction F is written. So we can easily identify whether it is a co-processor instruction or main processor instruction. Now for that examples are given. For example, if you want to perform addition or multiplication, so in case of addition, for example, in a main processor, if you want to do the addition, instruction is that the ADD, that is a instruction which is used for the main processor. But if you want to use the same type of instruction, in front of that put, that is FADD, this instruction will be put. Now I want to perform the multiplication operations on the co-processor, which is a floating point multiplication. So in that case, main processor instruction is mul. So that will be perform the multiplication operation between the two registers. So here, if I want to perform same operation on the co-processor, instruction is FMUL. Like these instructions are used for the perform the operations on the co-processor. Now moving to the next part, as we have seen that the this 8087 is a math processor, as I mentioned here. So it is also called as a numeric processor extension. Why it is called? Because it is going to perform the floating point mainly operations on the particular processor. Again, it will be perform the numeric data processor operations, then floating point operations. It is a this math processor is called as a these three types. Now next actual architecture we will see in next PPT. As we have seen that this 8087 co-processor is designed to operate with the 8086 microprocessor. So microprocessor and co-processor are going to execute their particular instruction simultaneously. As I said that the microprocessor is having its own instruction set and co-processor is also having its own instruction set. So microprocessor will be executing its own instructions and co-processor is going to execute its own instruction simultaneously depending upon the operations. Now, whenever microprocessor interpret and execute the normal instruction set, that time and the coprocessor interpret and execute only the coprocessor related instructions. That means whenever microprocessor is executing its all normal instruction set and coprocessor is executing its all instructions, which is similar to the first second statement of this one. It is represented by the different way only. Then the all the coprocessor instructions are escape instruction. It start from the F. So all processor instructions, whenever you want to use the microprocessor's instructions, the coprocessor, in front of that you have to put the F. That's it. That is for the escape the particular instruction. That means you want to, if this instruction is executed, that means you want to skip the microprocessor's instructions and you now start executing the coprocessor's instruction, which will be start from the alphabet F. Meaning of this is like this. Up to this, all of you understand. Then I will explain the architecture of 8087. Introduction of 8087, all of you understand? Please put it in chat box. Please put it in chat box. My voice is audible to all? Okay. Okay, thank you, Udayraj. Now I will move to the next part. That is the architecture of 8087. This is architecture of 8087 coprocessor. It consists of the two units. That is the first one is control unit and second one is numerical execution unit. Here, control unit consists of the control word, status word and data buffer. These components are main component which is required in the control unit. So control unit will be used as an interface for the main processor, or you can say that the numerical processor. Now numerical processor, numerical execution unit is in that the buses is divided into the parts. First bus is called as exponent bus and second one is called as a fraction bus. Also this fraction bus is called as a mantissa bus also. See here in a exponent bus it is which is of the 16 bit and this fraction bus is 64 bit. Fraction is nothing but in the single precision and double precision we have seen the mantissa, that is a normal. After normalization we can get the exponent and the fraction part of that particular numbers which is implemented here. Now in this numeric execution part it is mentioned that the exponent module is there and the arithmetic module is also there for the performing arithmetic operation of the fraction part. Then we are having the register stack register which is of the 8 stack registers are there and which is of the 80 bit, which is having the length is 80 bit. Even we are having the tag which is used for the tagging the particular operation is valid or invalid, or you are in an idle state to identify that all these things. This is working architecture of 8087, but I will explain with the help of the next few PPT in the now. Next thing is that as I explained that the architecture is having the two parts. This 8087 coprocessor is divided into two major parts. First one is control unit and second one is numerical execution unit. Control unit is responsible for the controlling operation of the control word and control signals, which is required for the particular operation. Then numerical execution unit is going to perform all floating operations. Either it is related to exponent operation or mantissa related operations. It will be performed on the numeric execution unit. That I will explain with the next part. So first type or first part of the 8087 coprocessor is that control unit. So it is, as I said, that it is a interfaces coprocessor to the microprocessor through a system bus. So which is in that is a exponent bus and the fraction bus, which is mentioned. Now it also synchronizes the operations of the coprocessor as well as the microprocessor. What do you mean by synchronization? Synchronization is nothing but the matching the speed between the two processor. That means the matching speed between the coprocessor and processor. As we know that the microprocessor is having faster than the coprocessor. So it is going to match the speed between these two. Now, next thing is that in the control unit, it is having the control words, status word and data buffer, which is also highlighted there in that PPT itself. If you are having the instruction XESC, that is escape instruction is there, then a coprocessor is going to execute its own operations or own instructions which is assigned to him. If not, then microprocessor is going to execute its instruction, which is also I have explained in the previous PPT. Now moving to the control unit, next next part, numeric execution unit. Now in a numeric execution unit, this unit is responsible for execution of all coprocessor instructions. It has 8 register stacks that holds the operations for the instructions and results for the instruction. Now, whenever you are using these 8 registers, as I said that the 8 registers are there, 8 stack registers are that which is holding the operand of particular instructions. That register is having the length that is 18 bit register is having length. And then next thing is that in numerical data, whenever we are transferring the data between the coprocessor, any 2 units, it is uses the two type of buses. First bus is called as a 64-bit Mantissa bus, or which is also called as in diagram, it is represented fraction bus. Then second bus is 16-bit exponent bus, which is directly mentioned in the diagram, exponent bus itself. But this Mantissa bus is written that is a fraction bus in the diagram. This bus is having two names, and these two buses combination is named as a system bus. Now, next thing is that we move to the next part, that is a status register. If you see the register, all registers are there. Register stack pointer, then control word, status word, like this, all components in detail I am going to explain. Now, next one is status word or status register, which is mentioned in the diagram, status word. Now, this status register is having the size 16-bit, which will be starting from the bit 0 to bit 15. Here, bit 0 is represented for the invalid operation, which is also in short, it is saying that the IO operation, invalid operation, that means the operation is not valid. That time this bit is set as 1, otherwise it will be set as a 0. Now, next bit is, first bit is used for the denormalization. What do you mean by normalization and denormalization, which is we have seen in the second unit itself in the IEEE standard single precision and double precision format. So whenever we are getting the data, for example, if I'm having the data 1011.0111, like this data is that, then I want to perform the normalization on this data is in a denormalized form. I want to perform the normalization on this data. What is that normalization? We are moving this decimal point after this 1, so that 1.011, this 0 as it is 1. How many digits we are shifting this to the left side? 3. So multiply by 2 raised to 3. If you are to the left side, then you have to put the plus sign. If you are moving to the right side, then you have to put the negative sign. This is the normalization. This is an example of normalization and example of the denormalization. This is example of denormalization. DN I have written, and this is example of the normalization. So if we are having the denormalized data, that time this first bit is set as a 1. If not, that means data is in a normal form, it will be set as a 0. Now, next second bit, which will be represented by the divide by 0. Whenever we are performing the any number operation, divide by 0 operation we are performing, that time this bit is set as a 1, otherwise it will be set as a 0. Now, next third bit is used for the overflow. Whenever we are performing any arithmetic or logical operation on this coprocessor, if result is more than the number of bit, for example, if you want to perform the Booth multiplication operation of the 4-bit and 4-bit, so we can get the result 8-bit, but that result may be exceed more than the 8-bit. That time this this flag is going to set as an overflow flag. That means data is more than 8-bit, which will be indicated by this whenever this bit is set as a 1. Now, next, otherwise it will be set as a 0. That means it is on the underflow value. Meaning is next is underflow. Whenever you are performing any operations and if you want the result should be 8-bit, it is less than 8-bit, that time this underflow bit flag is set. Otherwise, it will be set as a 0. Now, next bit is fifth bit is precision, which will be check the precision value, whether that data is a single precision value or double precision value. Now, bit number 6, which is used for the representation of stack fault to find out the fault of the stacks. Then 7th number bit is set whenever it is having value 1. It is used for the exception flag. Then C0, C1, to C3. These are the conditional flag, which I will explain in the next few PPTs. These bits are having value 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, and 1, 1, and each are having the different meaning. Now, top of stack pointer, which is used, these three bits are used for the representing stack pointer, and last bit is used for the whether that particular signal is busy or not, to indicate that. To understand this, because related to this, I am going to explain in the depth in the next 5 to 6 PPT, this status register only. Any doubt?
Ma'am, hello ma'am. What about the exception
Yes.
flag? Exception flag.
Exception flag is whenever any type of exceptions is occur. Means, for example, you may say that do not want the particular divide by zero operation should not be occur in the my system. That is a exception. So that time this flag is set to 1. Otherwise, it will be set to 0. That is use of exception flag. Any other than that? No. So I will go for the next. In only this part is I am going to explain in detail. Now, as I have explained in short, one line itself, working of this status register, 16-bit register. So as I said that the status register tells the overall status of the your coprocessor, that is a 8087. So it is a 16-bit, which will be start from the bit 0 to the bit 15. Then it will be accessed by executing the instruction, that is a FSTSW. Meaning of this instruction is that F stands for this is a coprocessor instruction. ST stand for the stack, and SW means stack word, stack status word. This SW you use for the status word, that is a STATUS, status word. SW is used for the status word, and ST used for the stack. Now that means this instruction is to the information about this stack register status word, and it is related to the coprocessor. FSTSW is written. This instruction stores the contents of the stack register into the memory, and once the status is stored in the memory, the bit position of the status register can be examined. As I explained, for example, this 0 bit is set for the invalid operation. What do you mean by invalid operation, which is having the value, which we are going to see in next few slides. Now, in that status word, we first of all see the first bit, that is a busy. So busy indicate that the coprocessor is busy in executing its task. That time this busy bit, that is the 15th number bit, is set as a 1. Otherwise, it will be set as a 0. That means whenever this busy bit is a 1, that time busy flag will be set, and it's indicate that the coprocessor is busy. If it is set as a 0 value, this busy bit, that means coprocessor idle state. Now next one is condition code. That is a condition code of C0, C1, C2 and C3, which is indicated by the yellow color here. So these are the condition code which indicate the various condition about the coprocessor. Maybe you can say that whether it is a overflow condition, underflow condition, divided by 0 conditions, like that. To indicate that particular conditions, these bits are used. Now top of the stack pointer is used to point this top of the stack register, and out of 8 register, which is I have shown in the architecture diagram, total 8 stack registers are there. These it will be point to the top of this stack pointer, and this stack register is having the capacity of the 80 bit. Now next bit is exception flag. As it is mentioned here, exception flag. Exception flags is a set if we are having the any exception bits. For example, the SF, that is a stack fault. Here stack fault initials are written. If stack fault bit is set 1, then PR, precision, PR is used for the precision. Underflow is represented by UF. Overflow is represented by OF. Then divided by G is represented by the ZD. Then denormalization is represented by the DN. And the inverted operation is represented by the set. As a exception flags are set. 1 minute. I will stop the talking. All of you can see the PPT. PPTs are visible. Yes, okay, thank you. I muted the background noise of the students. Now, next part of the register is stack fault. Exception flags we are seeing. These are the all exception flags which will be set for the particular condition. So now stack fault, when it is available, it is not available in the 8087. It is only active in the 8087 processor. That means this is a coprocessor for the 8086. This is a coprocessor for the 8086. This is a 8086 processors. Coprocessor is 8087. Now this 386 is coprocessor of 386. So in the 8087, this stack fault is not available. It is not used. Meaning of this statement is that it is available in the 80387 processor only. Now next bit is precision. It indicates that the result has exceeded the selected precision. That means if we are using the single precision, but result is exceeded that the single precision value. So we have seen that in the single precision, mantis is 23 bit, exponent is 8 bit, and 1 bit is used for the sign bit. Like this data is represented. If it is exceed more than that, so that precision bit is set. Or if you use the double precision, in that case, your mantis is 52 bit, exponent is 11 bit, and 1 bit is sign bit. Like this. Whenever it is exceed more than that, in case of double precision, then this bit is precision bit is set. The next one is underflow. It tells if the result is too small to fit in the register. Then overflow, it tells the result is too large to fit into the registers. Means, for example, as I have given the underflow, if you are having the 8-bit register, but your result is generated only 1 bit. So it is too small to, that means that value is underflow. So remaining 7 bits are not going to utilize for the storing the value. Only 1 bit is required in this case. If you another example for this overflow, if you are having the 8-bit only, but your result exceeds the more than 8-bit, 9-bit, or you can say that the 16-bit is there. That means you actually require a 16-bit, but you are having only 8-bit. That is meaning of the overflow. Now next one is divide by 0. Divide by 0 indicate that you try to divide non-zero value by the 0. That means any number you are dividing by the 0, that is a divide by 0 operation. Whenever you are performing, that time this bit is set as a 1, otherwise 0. Denormalize, it indicates that at least one of the operand is denormalized. That means the source or destination may be a denormalized form. To indicate with the help of the status register, denormalized flag is going to set as a 1. Now next one is invalid operation, last one. It indicates that an invalid operation, for example, you are pushing the more than the 8-bit item into the stack. Stack size is already 8-bit, but you are pushing the more than the 8-bit 8 items in the stack and attempting to pop the item of an empty stack. So if you are trying to taking out the item from the stack, which is of the 8 bit, but you are copying the more than the 8 item, so it will be taking the square root of the that particular negative value of that particular number. So which is called as an invalid operation. Now the next register is control registers. Here control registers are the two types, that is a rounding control and the second one is the precision control. So rounding control is represented by the bit 10 and 11, which is represented by the 2 bits. Whenever this rounding bit is having value 00, it will be set to the that result in the to the near or even value is going to be. Then whenever Swapnil Bangar, please mute yourself. Swapnil Bangar, 1062 number, mute yourself. If you are having the round value 01, you have to set to the nearest or even number. If you are having the round bit value 01, that is the 11 bit is 0 and 10th bit is 1. That time it will be taking the down value. If you are having the round bit value 11 bit is having 1 and 10th bit is having 0, that time you can take the up value. And then last one is your round bit is having value 1 1, we can truncate the result. That means it is used for the mainly for the selecting of the floating point truncate or take the rounding value. That for that it will be used for the deciding whether upper value you need to take or down value or truncate or nearest value you need to take. That time this rounding control is used. Now next one is a precision control. As in the control register, next bit is used for the precision control, which will be represented by the bit 8 and 9. So here also it is having the 2 bit values to represent that precision control. If precision control bits are 00, it is represented by the value of the 24 bit. If precision control is having value 01, it will be reserved for the future purposes. Then if precision control is having value of 10, it will be used for the 53 bit representation. And the precision control bit is having value 11, it will be used for the 64 bit representation. Like this control registers are used. Now moving to the next part of the control register. As I explained, control registers are used for the controlling the operating modes of the 8087 coprocessor, which is used for the 16-bit register to represent that particular data. It will be performing the rounding control and precision control operations, which is also I explained in the previous example. Then it is used to do masking and unmasking of the exception bits that corresponding to the rightmost 6 bit of the status register. These are the 6 status register bit, that is the 0 to 5, total 6 bit, which is indicated by the yellow. That is the rightmost 6 bit of the status register. It is used for the masking and unmasking. First of all, I will explain what do you mean by the masking and unmasking. Whenever this particular bit, for example, invalid operation, if this bit 0th bit is set as a 1, it is indicate that the masking operation. And whenever this bit is set as a 0, it indicate that the unmasking. That means the particular operation of this status register is active. Masking means that particular operation is active or enable. Mainly in technical microprocessors, masking is nothing but the enabling the bits, and unmasking means disabling the bits. That is the meaning of masking and unmasking, which is used for this performing these 6-bit operations for the masking and unmasking. Then FLDCW, this instruction is used to load the values into the control register. That means whenever you want to load the control registers, content of the control register you want to load, that time this instruction is used. This instruction long form is that first F indicate that is a coprocessor instruction, LD is nothing but the load, and CW is a control word. that is a control word or control register. Content will be loaded into the control registers. Meaning of this instruction is like this. Any doubt in this? Any doubt? Any doubt in this? So I will go for next part. Now next one is rounding control and precision control. Again, rounding control will be determining rounding control. It determines the type of rounding or truncating to be done. Means what type of rounding operations. If you are performing the floating point operation, for example, 10.6 is there. Whether you want to perform the rounding, 10.5 more than that is there. That time you can make it as a, if you want to make it as an integer, so you can make it as a 11, that is the integer. So when this will is nothing but a 10.6, we have done the rounding, so it becomes a 11. And truncating means to skip the fraction part, only integer part you can take, that is a nothing but a truncating. That means for this you can write down answer only 10, not 11. If 11 is for the rounding and truncating means only 10, which is we have written here. So it is used for the representation of the fraction part. Now next one is a precision control. It says the precision of the result, whether it is a single precision result or double precision, it will be represented here. Now next one is exception, a mask. Here exception flags are used for the setting the values. Here it will be determined whether that error is effective in exceptions bits in the status register. If it is a 1, then corresponding error is ignored. That means exception error is ignored. And if it is 0, the corresponding error occur, then it is generated a particular interrupt and corresponding bit in the status register is going to set value as a 1. Means corresponding bit in the status register is set. That means that status register is value should be set as a 1. Otherwise, it will be set as a 0. Meaning of this control register is that. Now next one is tag field. In the that register, tag fields of total 8 tag fields are used. Each tag field is having the 2 values. It is having capacity to store the 2 values. For example, tag 0, if it is there, it is having the value to store the 2 bit. So here, if we are having this tag bit value 0, 0, that means valid. 0, 1 value is there, that means 0. 1, 0 is there, that means invalid, and 1, 1 is there, it indicates that that will be the empty operation. Now moving to the next part, as I explained that the tag register is indicate the content of each register in the stack. Total 8 stack registers are there. Total 8 stack registers are there, and each register is having capacity to store the 80 bit, which is I have explained in the architecture diagram of 8087. Now out of that, as I said that the stack register is used to indicate the content of each register in the stack. What is the content in that stack register? It will be indicate that. So there are total 8 tag register for the 8 stack registers. 8 stack register. This is a stack register. Stack register is there. Stack register is mentioned that there. Stack register, this is 8 stack register, and for each register we are having the tag 0 to tag 7 like this. Total at 8 tag registers are there, and in that register each register is having the capacity to uses the 2 bit to represent a value. As I mentioned here, each tag register is having capacity to store the 2 bit. That means total tag register is having capacity of 16 bit. Total 8 tag registers are there, and each tag register is having capacity to store the total 2 bit like this. So whenever you are having the tag register value in between this like this, in each register can having value 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0 and 1, 1, and meaning is mentioned here for to represent that particular value. So therefore it is a total 16 bit. So 00 is there in the tag 0. So it will be indicate that the valued operation. For example, tag 2, it is having the value 11. That means that particular tag register stack register is empty. Means second number tag register is empty. It indicate that. Like this, it is used to represent that particular value. Now next is a pin diagram. That is not in your syllabus, but it is mainly used. If you know the pin diagram of 8087, then you can easily perform the interface between 8086 and 8087 coprocessor. How it will be done. Out of this, in this pin diagram, pin number 1 is used for the ground. Pin number 40 is used for the VCC. That is a input power supply. For that purpose, it is used. Here D0, AD0 to AD14 is there, and AD15 is here. Total 16 bits are there. These are the address as well as multiplex address as well as the data lines used for the sending the address as well as the data. Multiplex data and address lines which is used. Now NC is not configure. These pins are not configure. 17 and 18. Then pin number 19 is used for the providing the clock cycle. Clock. Here in this coprocessor, two grounds are there, pin number 1 and pin number 20. 21 is used for the reset logic. 22 is used for the ready, send the ready signal to the processor. Then 23 is used for the whether that coprocessor is busy or not, to identify that purpose is used. Then QS1 and QS0 is used for the setting the status bit. Then S0 and S1, S2 is used for the status register bit to represent the value. Again, pin number 29, 30 is not used. Like this, all these are going to use here in the interface. Any doubt in this 8087 coprocessor? Please ask me. This is related end of coprocessor. Other than that, I need to explain the next part. Any doubt? No. Any doubt related to exam? Tomorrow you are having the CAE1 exam. Tomorrow you are having the CAE1 exam of CAO subject. That exam will be start at 10 o'clock, 10 to 11. After completion of the examinations, you need to upload your answer sheet, scan answer sheet with your correct roll number on the Google Classroom itself. And question paper will be sent on the Google Classroom only. You cannot download the question paper from the Google Classroom, so that if I feel that you can download it and send it to your friend, it is not possible. And everyone has to submit your answer sheet. Before that, you can already on the Google Classroom of CAO, I have shared the answer sheet format. You need to prepare that answer sheet format yourself, like that box, and then after that you need to write down the answer. Before examination started, you should write down that format. Then write the all questions answer properly. Then scan all pages. That is another instruction. Scan all pages. After scanning the all pages, make it one PDF of that pages with the help of your mobile phone. Scan it and make it one PDF and store your proper roll number, SCO, A or B, and then roll number, whatever roll number you are having. Store that. Then you need to upload that answer sheet. I will put there in the Google Classroom, put the answer sheet tag. After completion of the exam, you need to upload your answer sheet within a 15 minutes. That means 11 to 11:15 you can upload your answer sheets. Okay. No, today's topic is not included in CAE1, only first and second unit. First unit, I already all first unit PPTs I have uploaded in Google Classroom after completion of each lecture, and as well as the second unit also. all PPTs are uploaded. You can see according to the title. First unit PPT, in that under that 8 lecture PPTs are there. Then after that second unit, under that 6 to 7 lectures PPTs are there. All topics PPTs are I have included there. You need to study for the first 2 units, maybe for the second unit, no, all numerical will be asked, because that is depending upon the Booth's multiplication algorithm. Positive, negative number, or both numbers are positive, or maybe I will say that the write down the algorithm, or scenario based question like a first unit, the find out you want to set up the lab in a computer department, then what are the different components and configurations are required. Write down and list out like that. Any question may become, even a single precision, double precision. According to mass, you need to write down and inform me. And still many students has not joined the Google Classroom. Please join it today. If you're having any problem, put it on your class WhatsApp group. That is a SYBTech group is there. That in common classroom you can put it there, and in that itself you can put, if you're having Raisoni email ID problem, give your personal email ID, so that I will send the question paper on personal email ID, and then you need to submit me on my email ID, sending the attachment, or I will share the Google Drive. On that drive you can share, upload your answer sheet. Any doubt other than this? Ma'am, yes, you don't have a plain paper, you can use the ruler pages. If you are having the notebook, take out your notebook pages and use it for that the writing the answers. Another thing is that you can keep that your answer sheet with you whenever college is started. You have to submit it your respective answer sheet to the respective subjects that is required for the proof. Okay, remember all of you this. Any doubt other than this? Any doubt? No? Okay, then we will end this. Best luck for the tomorrow's CAE 1 exam. Thank you, students.
हेलो
हेलो, हाँ बोला।
हेलो मैम, वो जब भी मल्टीप्लिकेशन ऑपरेशन करेंगे तभी वो डायग्राम बनाना जरूरी है, एल्गोरिथम का पूरा सिनारियो उसका।
जरूरी नहीं है, आपको याद नहीं आ रहा है कौन उसके बाद कौन सा ऑपरेशन करना है। मैंने आप लोगों को समझने के लिए लिखा था कि आप लोगों को हर बार मैं पीपीटी आगे पीछे करूंगी तो आपको जल्दी समझ में नहीं आएगा। इसलिए मैंने पीपीटी में क्या किया था, आगे पोर्शन में वो फ्लो चार्ट का डायग्राम रखा था और आधे पोर्शन में कैलकुलेशन रखा था, तो आपको उसी जगह पे समझ में आता था कि मैं कहाँ पे वर्क कर रही हूँ, कौन से स्टेज में लिख रही हूँ। क्योंकि फिजिकल
ओके
क्लास में
मैम।
अलग रहता है ना, मैथमेटिकल प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करना, यहाँ पे अलग। दैट्स व्हाई आई
ओके
पुट,
मैम।
for your understanding, you can write down the algorithm on one side and another side you can solve the problem. It becomes easy for you to do not skip any step. That is good for that.
ओके मैम। ओके, थैंक
Okay.
यू मैम।
Okay. Any doubts other than that?
अभी जब